Hello friends, today we're going to be talking about Magic the Gathering's most popular group play format, Commander. And as well, we're going to talk about the genius of its design and why it works so well as an alternative format compared to regular Magic the Gathering's standard format. So to start, what is actually different about the two formats? We should probably start with Standard when explaining this. Standard, as a format, is the main form of competitive play as far as I know. And that form of play uses 60 card decks that can have up to 4 copies of any card in the deck, except for obviously basic lands, which will you can have any amount of. In contrast, Commander has a deck of 100 cards that you can only have 1 copy of each. You can't have multiple copies because that 1 card of the 99 that makes up the 100 is a card that you will always have access to, and this card is known as your commander. Now, this is where things get interesting, as a commander can be basically any legendary creature. Any at all. So any creature that has happened to have that tag in the last however many years that Magic the Gathering's been out can be a commander. So in essence, you're sacrificing the consistency of 4 cards in a deck of standard, the possibility of drawing them and having multiples, for the absolute consistency of having 1 card that you will always have every game, regardless of what other situation is going on with your deck, which I find to be actually very interesting for a design concept. Noting this, it actually has been quite a popular format, and it is often played among groups of 4 people typically. And even though that was just the explanation, I've already kind of went over most of the design elements that are making it unique compared to standard. So before I trip over myself even more, let's talk about the next thing that's involved. What makes a good commander? And in order to decide that, it actually involves multiple things. Like obviously the effect you want to build your commander around, which so there are several effects that are built around commanders, and it just works really well. Despite this, these are cards that can be played in standard play as just cards that you can have in your deck that are just called legendary creatures and have their own utility rules in the standard play. For instance, you can't have multiple of the same legendary creature on the field. This is a way to make the consistency of having too many in your hand or something, I guess, a downfall. Another design element to consider when picking a commander would be your commander's color identity. Because, interestingly, your commander's color identity decides the color of your entire deck. So instead of you just choosing some colors and those be the colors of your deck like you would in standard format, your commander decides for you. But whatever colors that you have in between, so like let's say your commander was blue-black, you could have black cards, blue cards, or blue and black cards, or colorless cards, essentially. And because of this can create a lot of variety just through the fact of your commander. Another interesting thing that related to this commander whole deal is that your commander is always visible to your opponent. So another interesting thing about games of Commander, if you were to play competitively, even though it's famously a non-competitive format, is that you could sit across from someone, 100-card deck, you have no idea what's in it, but you see their commander. And depending on the commander, if it's well known enough, you might already have a knowledge base of what their deck could contain. That said, due to the fact that decks contain 100 cards and are all single cards, no game is going to play out the same with your deck. there's a chance that you'll draw some of the same cards because shuffling is quite hard with a 100-card deck. But most of the time between games, you're going to have a completely different subset of cards to use, unlike in Standard, where in Standard you'll typically have around the same amount of cards, consistency-wise, to play. And those are the main differences in design elements. So, honestly, there's not much else to talk about. I just wanted to talk about the interesting differences in Commander, and the fact that, honestly, Commander could probably work as its own card game. For instance, if there was a game that also had cards that were designed around, like, leader cards, I could see that working. And assuming these leader cards probably wouldn't have the same multi-use as they do in Magic the Gathering. So all that considered, basically what I'm saying is that more games should be like Commander Magic. Or more card games specifically. At least in terms of sacrificing consistency in a way that gives you a severe consistency that creates a creative element where players will build entirely around one card, or entirely around a subset of cards, or however many. Either way, I just think that it's great in its design for being an alternative format for an already existing game, let alone its own game. And that will be all for today. I just wanted to rant a bit about Commander, I guess. Well, this is the first video that has content that's in this new format. Hopefully y'all like it. Which, if you do, leave a like, and if you want to see more content that's more ranty and random like this, then trust me, my channel will have plenty of it at some point. But for now, this will be the first video like that, and I hope you enjoyed it. So, signing off.